I've been getting a lot of questions on my channel about different visa options for Bali, so in this video I'm going to explain everything. This video is going to be useful for those who come to Bali for a holiday or for those who want to move here full-time like I did. And at the end I'm going to explain exactly what I did when I decided to move to Bali full-time. So let's dive straight into it. Okay, let's start by clearing the confusion around these visas because there are so many different options, it can be a little bit overwhelming. But all of these visas can be separated into three different categories. We have visitor visas, work visas or kitas, and permanent residency visas. All of this is nicely organized on different visa agent websites that you can find online. I'm using Bali Visas as my agent because they're very easy to work with, they're fast, and I'm really happy with their service. And the prices for these visas can vary depending on the processing time. You have standard and expedited processing time. Standard is around 2 weeks and expedited is around 1 week. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to go with the standard processing time. Okay, so we're going to start with the visitor visas, which is by far the most popular option for people coming to Bali for the first time. And these visas allow you to stay in Bali from 2 up to 6 months. And the first one on the list, we have visa on arrival or e-visa, which costs around 750,000 Indonesian rupiah. And this is by far the most common option because you can apply for this one before coming to Bali or when you land in Bali, basically like a visa on arrival. It allows you to stay in Bali for 1 month, which can be extended for an additional month, so 2 months in total. And I would highly recommend applying for this one before coming to Bali because the queues are real long at the airport and you're gonna have to wait for a real long time. So a really good idea would be to apply for this before coming to Bali. After this, we have a long-term visitor visas for which you have to apply from outside of Indonesia. You cannot apply from inside the country. And you have a single entry visa and multiple entry visa. So single entry visa is a C-type visa which costs around 1.8 million Indonesian rupiah, which allows you to stay in Bali, let's say, for 2 months, which can be extended 2 times, and that adds up to 180 days or 6 months. But the major drawback is that you cannot leave the country after that. As soon as you leave Indonesia, your visa will end and you have to apply for a different visa when you try to come back into the country. So this is for people who are basically sure that they want to stay in the country for up to 6 months because as soon as they leave, the visa ends. And that leads me to the next option, which is a multiple entry visa or D-type visa, which costs around 4.5 million Indonesian rupiah. And this is basically the same as the single entry visa, but the biggest difference is that it's a lot more flexible. Because it's a multiple entry, you're allowed to, let's say, come to Bali and then go to Thailand and then come back and then go to the Philippines and come back. So it's a multiple entry. It allows you to travel around Southeast Asia, let's say, and then come back to Indonesia anytime you want during that visa period. So it's a lot more flexible, but it's also way more expensive. It's more than double the price of the single entry visa. This is more for people who know that they cannot commit for, let's say, 6 months to be in Indonesia. They want to travel around, they want to visit some friends in different countries and then come back. So it's for those types of people. And the important thing to mention is that you cannot legally work with these visas in Bali, but if you're a digital nomad or remote worker and you earn money from outside of Indonesia, there are way better visa options for you. Okay, so now we get into the fun part, which is work visas or kitas, which allow you to stay in the country from 1 up to 2 years. And I have to mention that the requirements for these visas change all the time because most of them require you to have, let's say, a certain bank balance before applying for the visa. So I'm not gonna go into too much detail. It's just gonna be like an overview of these different types of visas. So if you're interested in any of them, I highly recommend to go, let's say, to the Bali Visas website and see the different requirements for each one of these visas. And the first one on the list, we have investor kitas, which is a really popular option for people that allows you to stay in the country from 1 up to 2 years. It usually costs around 20 million Indonesian rupiah, depending on the visa agent you go with. And this is great for people who want to come to Bali for investment opportunities, attend conferences, or just live here managing their own projects. It's one of the most flexible visa options, especially if you're looking for investment opportunities or starting your own company. And the next one on my list, I have working kitas, which allows you to legally work for an Indonesian company. Again, it's valid for up to 1 year, and it costs around 18 million Indonesian rupiah, depending on the visa agent you go with. With the working kitas, you can be in Bali as a professional employee. You can even bring some family members under a dependent visa if needed. Again, the requirements are changing all the time, so I highly recommend you go on a visa agent website and see the requirements needed. And now we're getting into the digital nomad visa, which is one of the newer visa options designed exactly for people who work online. So if you have a remote job or your own company and you make money from outside of Indonesia, you can apply for this one, which allows allows you to stay in Bali, for example, for up to 1 year. It costs around 30 million Indonesian rupiah, again, depending on the agent, but it's a really flexible option because it's a multiple entry visa as well. And it's very popular for people who work online or have their own businesses. There are a few other options for Kitas, which I'm not going to go into because I'm not really familiar with them, but these can be student visas or retirement Kitas. They allow you to stay in Indonesia for at least a year or two, and they're great for people with specific reasons to be here, like studying, retiring, or living with their family. And the final category is permanent residency visas, or KITAP. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about these because I'm not familiar with them and I'm not at that stage yet. But this is basically for people who know that they want to live in Indonesia for a really long time. So that's for people who have been here for a number of years. Maybe they held one of the previous KITAs like digital nomad or investor KITAs for up to 3 years. For the minimum of 3 years, sorry. And they're sure that they want to stay in Indonesia for the foreseeable future and maybe get their permanent residency. But this video is made for people who want to come here for a holiday, or for those who work remotely or have their own businesses and they want to stay here for 1 or 2 years. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about these ones. So to summarize everything, if you're coming to Bali as a tourist, your best option will be the visa on arrival, which allows you to stay in Bali for up to 2 months. And if you want to extend your holiday for up to 6 months, I would highly recommend going with a multiple entry visa, even though it's more expensive, but it gives you way more flexibility. And if you want to, let's say, stay and work in Bali from 1 to 2 years, I highly recommend going with a digital nomad visa because that's the most flexible one. And if you already have a remote job and you make money from outside the country, this is probably your best option. So now I'm going to share my story of what I did when I decided to move to Bali full-time. So before even coming to Bali, I applied for the e-visa, which allowed me to skip the queues at the airport, and basically I spent the first month just exploring Bali, meeting new people, and I liked the place so much that I decided to extend it for another month. So I was here 2 months as a tourist, again, traveling around, meeting new people, and just exploring to see if Bali is really the right place for me. And after those 2 months, when my visa was almost close to expiring, I decided that yes, this is the right place for me. I love being on this island, I love the people, I love the community, I love everything about it. So I made the choice to apply for the digital nomad visa, which I have currently at the moment. And it was probably the best decision I made in the last 10 years. So if you're not quite sure if you want to live in Bali for as long as I am, for example, I would highly advise to just come here for 2 months, travel around, see what this place is all about. And if you really like the place and you want to stay longer, I would highly recommend to apply for one of these Kitas, which allow you to stay for up to 1 year, because honestly, it gives you so much flexibility. You're able to leave the country and come back, travel around. It gives you so much flexibility that honestly I think the Kitas are the way to go. So I hope this video helped you clear some of the confusion about different Bali visas. And if you find this information in the video useful, leave a like and subscribe, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.